right. Do we have sound? Do we have sound? We got that. Man, total. Well, hold on. Let me share this around. Be responsible streamer. All right, losing. I spelled analyze right. I probably spelled that shit wrong. Nah, I spelled it right. Do that. There you go, losing. There you go. Actually, never mind. I might reuse that play. He's like, God damn. Oh god. And you do that thing where you're about to go live and then the urge to shit is sneaking up on you. Is that right, losing? Alright, let's give this a watch. Hold on. Okay, let's get started. Total War Showcase. I had, well, without watching this, it's streamed 3 days ago. I have certain ideas about what they're going to do. I think one of those ideas is the Endtimes. I think they 100% plan on just shuttering Total Warhammer 3. You know, giving it its end times content just to say they've done it and then moving the fuck on because it's clear they've shat all over Total War Warhammer and they have no excuse for it. So that they're like, yeah, let's just get out of this, which is sad because Total War Warhammer, at least in particular, you have just infinite replayability, and they've shown in the past that they can make interesting factions with interesting lore, right? You know, have interesting mechanics. Even though there's a lot of mechanics in the game, but there's more that they can add to make the game more interactive. But they're clearly not wanting to do that. I don't know, maybe all the people with creativity has been funneled out and now the marketing team is running this company, or maybe this is a deliberate attempt because Warhammer is like their flagship product. It's their quadruple A game, a game they can just keep just adding things to and just making infinite money off of it, but they don't want it. But they fucked up, and now they're just like, I guess we're just out this bitch. But anyway, let's give us a fucking watch. That's the one thing that I'm pretty sure they're doing. Inappropriate for children. Oh,
okay. Set and action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Total War Anniversary
you
Showcase.
Have to do that. Oh yeah, Pharaoh. What a fucking blob. But it's too loud. God, this is loud in my ear. 25.
I'm Steve Coleman, Senior Community Manager across the Total War franchise.
Cringe.
On behalf of everyone at Creative Assembly, we're thrilled to be here with you today to celebrate one truly monumental milestone. The 20...
Also, why are community managers speaking? Why not the developers themselves? Right? People who've worked on the game. Like, you'd think they have a greater understanding of Total War than someone who sits on a forum and just bans people. It's so weird how just community managers are the representative of the game and the gamers. Because you gotta also understand that, assuming like 100,000 people are playing the game, like assume maybe 10-15% of that is going to, I don't know, join the subreddits, join, you know, join the discussions. You know, even less of that is of them are going to actually make mods for the game, right? So why is someone who only interacts with what, 10, 15, or I'd even say it's less than that, because again, I don't know all the total sales, but Total War Warhammer at its prime had easily 200,000 people playing, 300,000 people playing. So 10% or 20% or 5 to 10% of that, why would someone who only represents 5 to 10% of the community like revealing this and effectively selling this to us? Or maybe this is just one guy. Maybe I'm just blowing my load too early.
25th anniversary of this iconic strategy franchise. Throughout this year, we've been celebrating the legacy of Total War by shining a spotlight on each of the games that we've released since the year 2000. But today, we look forward to the future and the exciting next generation for the franchise. This showcase is your front row seat to everything we've been eagerly building behind the scenes. Across fantasy and historical Total War, we're working on a range of projects that span like different eras, styles, and stages of development. And now, we finally get to share them with you. Whether it's long-awaited updates, bold new ideas, or glimpses into the future of Total War, there's something here for every kind of strategist. So without further ado, let's jump into things with a quick message from a true veteran of the studio. Someone who's had a part to play in almost every Total War game.
Thanks, Steve. I first walked through the doors of Creative Assembly in November 1999, hoping to land my next role in game development. Little did I know that during my interview, I would be shown an early glimpse of Shogun Total War.
Oh my God.
Over 25 years later, you've conquered history's most pivotal eras, witnessing the fall of Rome, surviving the turbulence of the Middle Ages, and establishing empires at the dawn of the modern world.
And see, Shogun, back when you could rent out games from the library, like, I liked the game because if you had, like, muskets, like, the actual smoke from the muskets that you shot would fill up the skybox and fill up the battlefield. It would add another layer of, like, immersion to that game. And that, at least to me, when did I play Shogun? I was like, fucking 7 or 8. I'm pretty sure 7 or 8 years old. And to me, a 7 or 8 fucking idiot, that was like, holy fuck, that is so cool. Imagine where we'll be in Total War in like 10, 15 years.
You've also crossed dimensions into one of fantasy's most iconic settings, conquering the vast Warhammer world with legendary warriors and conflicts that defy reality. Thanks to your support, we get to continue pushing the boundaries of what Total War is capable of. So whether you're a fan of our history or fantasy titles, throughout it all, our aim is and has forever remained the same, ensuring everyone playing our games is excited to take one more turn. Now, what better place to begin the celebrations than with an early look at what's to come in Total War Warhammer.
Oh, let's do this. This is what I mainly care for.
This isn't just another update. It's the end of the world.
He's back.
Yep.
And this time, he's more determined than ever.
What did I say? Endtimes content. Yeah, they're trying to just shove it out and just completely leave Warhammer.
Growing up, Warhammer was easily one of my favorite pastimes. I fondly remember buying countless copies of White Dwarf, reading the battle reports within, and dreaming of what I might buy from the mailer at the back of each magazine. Like me, many of my teammates at Creative Assembly share the same deep love for Warhammer and the hobby that surrounds it. And nearly 10 years into developing content for this incredible series, the excitement is as strong as ever. Each new character, faction, or creature we work on brings fresh energy to the team. The diversity of the lore ensures that every faction is distinct, each design, filled with rich stories and larger-than-life personalities. It's that variety and depth that keeps the project exciting for us, and it continues to be an amazing world to help bring to life. When we first set out to develop this series, our aim was to do something that no other Warhammer game had done before, to create a definitive strategy game experience that spanned the four corners of this amazing fantasy world, with the aim of including as much of Games Workshop's iconic lore, characters, creatures, and key events as possible.
I need to stop pausing, but the problem is a lot of factions like the Orcs have just a lot of redundant units. Like, the Orcs are such a stupid fucking faction, right? I only play Grimgor because he's like the let me solo her of the fucking Orcs. And I'd say the ogres are the same way, but I actually like the ogres. Then they have like this parallel economy. Norska, for the longest time, was missing half its fucking roster. I mean, I like the ice trolls. Chaos. The Warriors of Chaos have gone through like 90 different changes and iteration, you know, from a horde faction to that can't really, you know, settle anything, to a faction that can kind of settle but not really, to a faction that really only settles, you know, effectively Doom keeps. Like, the problem is there, in 3, a lot of the factions they've released are just easy factions, like Kislev. All the units are hybrids, like 90% of the units are hybrids. With Cathay, even your peasant fucking units can do good. You know, they really shouldn't. I mean, they're peasants, but they have a mechanic that, man, there's a hell of a lot of other factions that are just missing from the world that you can add through mods, right? Like Nippon or Total War Japan or like End, you know, and like Eastern Beastmen or like Araby, you know, the Hmong, which are like Total War Mongols. Like, what made Total War Warhammer cool is they have a bit of history and a bit of fantasy smacked together to make just an interesting setting, but they completely forgot about that. They're like, oh yeah, let's just release like these tiny little rival packs that we can sell for $20 and people will buy them up instead of releasing anything big. And that's just what they've done. It's like, what was the last I'd say decent faction they've added was Chaos Dwarves. Like, and they have a completely different economy that's slow to roll when it begins, but once you build up, they actually have some of the best fucking units in the game. But then after that, like, I guess they've added bits and pieces to factions based off, you know, what the sales team sees and how much the factions people play. And those were the factions they've actually added shit to. Like, Bretonia is still kind of shafted, but I am unironically good with them, even though it's just nothing but cavalry. Again, with ogres, they're nothing but monstrous infantry, but I think that what they've added to them made them good. This is an hour long. I should stop pausing.
It's certainly been a journey of a lifetime for us, one that we've loved sharing with you.
No, it definitely was a journey.
And hearing your experiences of forging empires, felling enemies, and venturing to the darkest corners of the Warhammer world. But we aren't ready for it to end just yet. Next year, we need you to join the forces of Order, Chaos, or the Undead for a war that will determine the fate of this world.
They're bringing my boy Nagash back. Oh, they're bringing Nagash.
The great work can begin.
Archon the Black there, yep.
Rise, my Mortarks. You will come to me and submit. Come to me and witness my ascension.
My boy.
The world is ending, and I shall reign
Blood Knights.
over.
Blood Knights are one of the coolest units in the game. That's right.
Come to me, and for eternity you will serve. Citra rules. So be it. I am death incarnate.
My boy.
This world will kneel.
Okay, I will say, because I like the undead, this kind of hyped me, but God, there's a mod that adds Nagash anyway. And okay, it's not the best, but it's still interesting, right? I don't know. I wonder what more shit, like, how you make Nagash is you make him utter shit to begin with until he captures the Black Pyramid. And then, I don't know, you activate some rite, which has everyone hate you and want to destroy you. But once you do that, like, you should, like, there should be a resource, I don't know, warp stone or whatever the fuck, that you have to spend. And if you spend it, you can just instantly confederate any undead faction, right? But the early game has to be a fucking slog, and you have to rush to get to the Black Pyramid, because obviously the factions around you, they're like, okay, if you start in Nagashazar, which I'm assuming, one, you have to take Nagashazar from the Ratmen, but then you have the High Elves to deal with, the Orcs or Greenskins to deal with. Eventually you'll butt heads with the Dwarves, but then past that you got Khorne to deal with. You have to deal with the Tomb Kings, you know, the Empire, the Bretonia faction that's down there. Like, it has to be a slog, but once you get there, you know, once you get past that slog, and sometimes you even just have to let things go, because the point is to get to the Black Pyramid. That's your end game. And once you get that, I mean, shit, you should just effectively just become unstoppable at that point. Like, that's how you would play Nagash. Like, you wouldn't start out, oh, an overpowered motherfucker, but you'd have to get there. And once you get there, it'd just be so refreshing.
That's right. Nagash has arisen, and he's bringing the apocalypse with him. He and his undead legions are finally invading Total War Warhammer in summer 2026 with the Lords of the Endtimes back. And he's not coming alone either. 3 other iconic legendary lords from the Endtimes will be joining the fight, along with terrifying new units, devastating mechanics, and lore-inspired objectives. And yes, we've got a brand new free legendary lord for everyone to enjoy. For those who don't know, the Endtimes is basically the Warhammer Apocalypse, and it's the ultimate battle between the forces of good and evil. During this event, Archaon the Ever-Chosen leads the forces of chaos in the final assault to destroy the world. But as the forces of destruction rise, legendary heroes and factions from across the world form uneasy alliances to resist annihilation. And as we announced earlier this year, Warhammer 1 and 2 owners can also join in on the action, as Immortal Empires is now accessible to all players who own one of the games from the trilogy. We're incredibly excited for our players to experience this content as we celebrate an amazing 10 years of working on this game.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right? Because at first you had to buy, if you wanted to play Immortal Empires, you had to buy, like if you, okay, you come into Total War at Immortal Empires, you had to buy Total Warhammer 1, which I think is like $20. You had to buy Total War Warhammer 2, which is like 30 or 40. And you had to buy Total War Warhammer 3, which is I think still like $60, $70. just to play one campaign of Immortal Empires, and that was kind of dumb, but people rallied and was like, okay, well, that's dumb. Why do you have to pay for 3 games just to play one? And now you only have to own 3 to play the Immortal Empire. Now, obviously, you're locked out of certain factions, which you can buy later. But to have it accessible to all 3 of them, yeah, I think it's a good choice. You know, for people who probably didn't care to buy 3, because 3 had a very rocky start.
Whether you're a veteran or returning after time away, there's never been a better moment to dive in. This isn't just another update. It's the end of the world.
Nagash isn't just a villain. He is the king of the undead. This is the ancient evil who turned Nehekara into a lifeless desert to claim dominion over the dead. His first attempt to extend that desert to the entire world failed. But he is back. And this time, he is more determined than ever. To bring that presence to life, we focused on making him feel truly imposing. As the greatest of all necromancers and wizards, he is a figure above politics and mortal concerns. He does not need to motivate anyone. He simply states what will happen. His goal from the beginning...
I wonder if they'll actually make the physical Black Pyramid move, like as like sort of like a horde, or like a moving, like... I guess it'd be more like a moving settlement. Like, that would be fucking cool. Now, obviously you can give it like garbage movement, but I feel like that, again, that'd be yet another interesting mechanic that they can add, which is, again, really what Total Warhammer 3 is lacking, is interesting mechanics. Like, I played Mung, and I'm like, so why can't you press a button to dismount some of your warriors and maybe on a cooldown remount them? I mean, I don't know how they'd do it. Like, make it like spectral horses or some shit. Spectral mares that you can jump on and off. I don't know. But that's one of the things the game is missing. Like, to be fair, it has a lot of other mechanics that make it interesting. But there's also a lot that they're missing.
Is clear. To turn the world into a land of the dead. His undead corruption spreads relentlessly as he claims lost power, seizing the Black Pyramid, gathering his scattered books, and raising armies that stir simply from his presence. And he doesn't come alone. Nagash can summon his Mortarchs by luring them from other factions. Archon the Black, for example, who abandons his Tomb King ties to write a Dread Abyssal and flood the world in deadly witchlight. Nagash's arrival brings not only doom, but a unique undead roster that draws from both the Vampire Counts and Tomb Kings, uniting ancient death and vampiric horror under one banner.
But what about the Vampire Coast? I mean, shouldn't they also be added? Or there's one more. I mean, he should obviously have his own, like, faction-specific units. But I think if you... And again, this is again going back to missing mechanics. I think if you, I guess, either subjugate or if you confederate a faction, you should just gain access to its units. Like, not just through, you know, outposts, because that's cool and all, but just as a separate, you know, means to recruit.
From the crypts and catacombs rise ancient figures like Warlock Harkon, the ruthless Blood Knight whose blade has tasted the blood of kings. He is joined by Tomb Heralds, the internal guardians of Nehekaran royalty, and the towering Morghast Archai, created by Nagash's own hand to hunt the souls of the Defiant. And then there is the Khemric Titan, a colossal woe construct that stomps and flies across the battlefield like a walking apocalypse. With all this in mind, Nagash's goal remains unchanged. He seeks to reclaim enough power to choke the life from the world itself, binding all undead to his will in a single, world-ending ritual, as is his grand design.
But what is the mechanics? Like, I get you're telling me all this interesting stuff, and I'm interested. But what are the mechanics? Like, what is the thing within the game which makes me want to play him? Like, and when what is the price? Like, there are these things that they actively not tell you, the consumer, that you as a consumer have every right to know, and price is one of those things. But it's also mechanics, because getting gamers, that's what I care about. I care about the new mechanics. Like, again, will he be able to confederate other like Tomb Kings or Vampire Coast factions? Or will he be able to subjugate them once he gets the Black Pyramid? Like, what is the starting? Like, I don't know why. And you can tell this in a way where you don't really give away too much. But it's better than just not saying it at all. Because right now they're just describing things you already know if you're into the lore.
Bringing the Endtimes to Total War Warhammer meant more than adding new content. It meant reshaping the very fabric of the campaign map to reflect the devastation unleashed by a host of apocalyptic events. Depending on their choices, players will witness a Warhammer world transformed. Lush meadows now drawn in molten rivers from volcanic eruptions. Earthquakes split the land into colossal fissures, rendering cities into ruins beyond repair. Craters from warp-fueled meteors scar the terrain, and entire continents may be left barren. The campaign map has never felt so apocalyptic and alive, and we're thrilled for players to shape their own vision of it.
So they're doing what Age of Wonders does, where it actually physically changes the map. I mean, the map would change visually, right? Like if you were playing Nurgle and you're conquering stuff and you got enough Nurgle corruption, you'll see like boils and tentacles on the map to represent that. Or I guess if you're playing Slaanesh, you'd see like odd fucking purple goo, God knows what it is or where it came from, but you'd see that on the map. I mean, these are things that happened before, but to actually make it something other than just, you know, an attrition modifier, like you make it actually have physical effects on the map outside of just doing attrition to factions, I think is a good change. Again, something they could have done already, but they're doing it now that they're just effectively ending the Warhammer world. And hey, I'm gonna have another prediction. I think they're moving into Age of Sigmar. Like they're trying to peter out of Total War, which is a bad decision.
Of course, such devastation means new battlefields. Our team has crafted epic new maps to reflect the chaos. Players can expect battles fought within the sunken ground of an earthquake fissure, with lava pouring from all sides, fighting at the very edge of an erupting volcano, or in giant craters created from warpstone meteor showers. It's nothing short of the monumental destruction only the Endtimes could bring. We've really tried to make these key moments in the lore as immersive to play through as possible. One of the most haunting new settlement locations.
You shouldn't really have to try. If you know what the consumer wants, there is no try. You just do it. Like, do you not have faith in your product to where you're like, oh, we're trying? That's not what people are buying. They're not buying an attempt for you to do this. They're buying your ability, you to do that. I mean, have some fucking faith in your product, ma'am. Do you even play these games? I mean, you're the senior environment artist. I doubt it. But...
is Nagashazar, the dread fortress of Nagash himself. With its towering necromantic architecture, glowing skulls, and eerie green witchlight, it's a place where death reigns eternal. The environment team have poured their passion into crafting a map that feels otherworldly, so let's take a brief look at it in action.
But I'll give you that. At least there's talent somewhere, right, in this game, and that's the environments. I'll give you that. You know, they do put effort into the maps and into the... It's just unfortunate it doesn't really... Like for siege maps, nobody uses 70% of that because in some cases holding the walls will just get your unit killed. So you won't even try. Okay, maybe we'll hold the walls a little bit, right? And do these environments actually translate into strategic advantages or not? You know, because it's a strategy game. I mean, looking good is one thing, but actually being effective is another. And there are some situations where it is, where if you're charging downhill with cavalry or ogres, or if you're fighting in a forest and there's like either some debuffs to large units, like there are some on map effects, or I think if you're in water you get, I think you get like a speed debuff, but there's not really many, and at the end of the day it's really up to the player, right? Like, I mean, maybe on the overmap, if you're in like Illustria, obviously you have higher ambush chances because it's like a lush forest, or like in certain forest areas, but or like in like, I guess, bridge paths. But this is what the strategy player cares first and foremost. I mean, it looks beautiful, I suppose, but how does that translate into the game?
This world dies. You let chaos claim it. Allowed chasms to bleed it. Life failed it. This world dies. And becomes my domain.
And I guess, other than Nagash, like most of the factions I like, you can either is neither order or chaos, like the ogres, they're just there, right? Like the Vampire Coast. I guess Bretonia is kind of like neutral good. But they absolutely will throw hands with the Empire if they need to. Tomb Kings, again, they're just kind of there. I guess other than the Undead, but I guess that's like the third option. So I don't know, just cutting fat, and usually what would happen in like Total Warhammer 1 is eventually you'll have all Empire, High Elves, Dwarves, and I guess Bretonia. versus any of the like Skaven, Beastmen, Chaos, Demons. You'll eventually become that, but that happens naturally, and there are some situations where other like Slanesh will fuck with Khorne physically, like, and literally and figuratively. Like, there's situations where maybe you as the Empire will kind of fuck with Kislev. But the reason why you wouldn't do that is because, okay, if you play the Empire, you're fucking with Festus, which is a Chaos Lord. You're being fucked with by Norska. You're being fucked with by Azazel. Eventually Be'lakor is going to come to your ass. You're being fucked with by the Orcs. You're having to deal with the Vampire Count. So mainly those alliances are made through, because you're kind of playing a losing game and the AI cheats. But that's what makes those moments natural. Again, eventually Archaon's gonna make his dumb ass way down there. Eventually you'll end up fucking with the Chaos Dwarves because the disciples of Hashut is coming your way, and that's what makes these things natural, right? Maybe you'll have to fuck with the Wood Elves, but that depends on if they try to fuck with you and take your land. But hold on, I got pissed.